Let's try and understand how important this deal is, considering we're just a few months out from Operation Sindoor, where these very Rafales performed in an incredible and decisive manner. Air Marshal R.G.K. Kapoor, former Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Central Air Command and a veteran fighter pilot, is with me live. Wing Commander Sharad Panikkar is also a veteran fighter pilot. But I'd like to start with my colleague, senior colleague Vishnu Shom, who's with me here, who covered Operation Sindoor closely. He's covered and tracked the journey of the Rafale in the Indian Air Force as well very, very closely. Vishnu, the politics part of it aside, I've set that up. But how important is this deal? Isn't it true that the government has moved unusually fast on this? Usually we're used to these things taking their time in the procurement process. This has happened pretty fast.
This has happened very fast, Shiv. Finally, when I started journalism 30 years back, we spoke about Mirage 2000s, more of them made in India for the Indian Air Force. That then became something called the MRCA race for a single-engine fighter. That became the MMRCA race. That also fell through. Then we got into a government-to-government deal for 36 Rafale aircraft. But that was nowhere close to what the Indian Air Force wanted. We went close to a decade when the government opened the MRFA process to get 114 more jets. And today is a landmark day because after that much time, the Air Force is most likely going to get 114 Rafales. There is still a final price negotiation to happen and the cabinet has to sign off on it. What has taken place now is an acceptance of necessity. That's an important step and comes just ahead of the visit of the French President to India in the next few days.
That's right. He's coming. President Macron lands in a few days, and I don't know if there'll be some kind of an announcement because this is still only at the MOD level. And as Vishnu said, Air Marshal Kapoor bringing you in on that. There are still a few steps to go before a deal was signed. But how would the Air Force be seeing this, Air Marshal Kapoor, today? They've been waiting. They've been insisting. Let's stop wasting time with another contest which will collapse like the last one. We've already got these fighters. Why not just get more?
Shiv, you remember we were speaking on 26th January, Republic Day, in the morning at 9 o'clock. And I had said that time, the time for talking is over. It is time for doing. And I think this decision today just re-emphasizes the fact that there is a set of people who want to do things. And what is more important is that it will set up an ecosystem in India, which will, what it will do is it will give a ripple effect to kind of capability building in the military aerospace sector, which is primarily a monopoly. So I think what Indian Air Force would heave a sigh of relief, would feel confident, and what it does is it actually, confirms the fact that what Indian Air Force has been saying, that Rafale is a very, very good fighter aircraft. And what we are talking about is the F4 and the F5. And those are what will actually give kind of the loyal wingman capability to the future. And that is the future of air combat. And they are going to not only kickstart the military aerospace ecosystem, bring in capabilities, bring in efficiencies, bring in accountability, bring in the technological skill development that we so badly need in our ecosystem. And all this is going to help the private industry. It is only to be seen. What we were doing so far was assembling aeroplanes. We were not actually, manufacturing properly. There was hardly any indigenization. The cutting edge technologies is what we have to invest in and get it indigenous. And that
is sort of the point, because out of these 114 fighters, as Vishnu and I have reported, about almost 100 of these are going to be built here in India. That is the intention. The whole intention is for it not to be a kind of very expensive assembly line, but literally an aviation ecosystem that manufactures these fighters, or at least, a large part of them. Wing Commander Panikkar, the Air Force is obviously going to breathe a sigh of relief, but there are many challenges ahead. This is a vast and complicated program, but as far as the choice of aircraft is concerned, the Air Force must be also relieved that it doesn't have to choose anymore. The Rafale has literally been used in combat during Operation Sindoor.
Let's just look at the facts before us. First and foremost, what is significant is that we already are operating 2 squadrons of the Rafale.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're getting 114 more staggered over a period of maybe, let's say, 7 to 10 years is definitely good news. Please always keep in mind that the fighter strength of this country, as Vishnu had brought out earlier, has dropped from about 50 squadrons, roughly about 25 odd years back, to just 30. That is really alarming. And for any ecosystem to build up capability takes a finite amount of time. So I would say it's fantastic news. I only wish this had happened, in this original deal of 126.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, step in the great direction. And I also understand that up to 60% of indigenization is going to take place, which, as RGK had just mentioned earlier, indicates that a large number of Indian defense manufacturers would be involved in the final production of this aircraft. And hopefully, HAL would be up to the task, and we should be seeing the rollout of fighters sooner rather than later. From what I understand, we're also going to get a certain number of fighters in a flyaway condition.
Yes.
Which means that I would expect between a squadron or 2 squadrons in a flyaway condition, and the rest would be manufactured in India. We've already got expertise.
Yeah.
We've got expertise in the maintenance, we've got expertise in the operation, and the final test of any weapon pilot combination is operations, as was highlighted during Sindoor. Operation Sindoor, using the scalp, using the hammer, integration, fusion with airborne early warning and the AVAC system, the whole thing worked like a dream.
Yeah.
And why did it work like a dream? Primarily because of the integration that the Air Force had, incorporating air defense, incorporating inputs from all surface radars, incorporating inputs from airborne early warning radars, all into one. This was information fusion, and it was delivered with a precision that was unheard of.
In fact,
air warfare is going to keep evolving, and we have to keep abreast of it. This is the first step in that direction.
I think you make a very important point. It's a step in the right direction for sure, but there are challenges ahead. Vishnu, I want to tell all of our viewers that Vishnu has an amazing book that's coming, that's going to give us an amazing sense of some of the combat operations that happened during Operation Sindoor, including from the cockpit of Rafales. Vishnu, you want to add to what Wing Commander Panikkar said? The Indian Air Force has been more than convinced that this is the direction to go in with the Rafale.
I think what was important, and the Air Marshal was also mentioning earlier on, is the variants we're getting. We're getting a variant called the F4, ultimately the F5. The F4, we currently operate.
So it's much more advanced than what we have now.
We have something called the F3I right now. I stands for India. It is an extremely advanced variant. When we started acquiring it, it was more advanced perhaps than what the French operated. But the French have since upgraded to the F4 variant. We'll be acquiring that and moving to the F5 variant. The F4 variant is based on network-centric warfare. It works as brilliantly as a formation of fused and data-linked Rafales operating closely together, and the F5 takes it one step further by actually working on what is known as the loyal wingman concept, where you've got essentially drones flying autonomously with the support of a mothership, which would be the Rafale. That is very much the future of Rafale operations and air operations anywhere in the world. But Shiv, just one brief point. The key on this is Atmanirbharta, and there'll be many already who will be piping in and saying that, we've bought a French aircraft and there goes the Tejas and HAL and everything. But Tata Advanced Systems Limited is going to be the primary partner. They've already signed 4 production transfer agreements to manufacture the entire Rafale fuselage. That's the body of the aircraft. There'll be a new state-of-the-art facility located in Hyderabad. There is an existing facility which Dassault have in Mihan in Maharashtra, which has been building business jets. That the land over there would be used. There would be very small Indian component manufacturers, if they can develop to a particular standard, would be filling, the Rafale assembly line. And that means jobs. That means jobs in India. And in the future, why shouldn't we be asking a question, can Rafales made in India be exported to other countries?
To other customers,
And one final point, as you know, Shiv, I love the entire Rafale story. this has to involve the integration of Indian weapons like the Astra 2, a version of the BrahMos called the BrahMos ER, and also futuristic air-to-air missiles which rely on ramjet ducted, rely on ramjets, which are now being tested quite successfully.
This is all very exciting. The intent, the parameters of what this deal is going to look like are extremely energizing in terms of what they are hoping to achieve. But it's going to be a big challenge. Air Marshal Kapoor, Wing Commander Panikkar mentioned HAL, for instance. The government intends to make this a Make in India that involves the private sector. Like Vishnu said, the Tatas are there. Do you think that this is going to be an issue or a problem? Should HAL also be involved in the manufacture of these jets? Because that might become a bone of contention.
I think HAL will not be a part of this whole program, while it may contribute secondarily by forwarding its infrastructure, its testing capabilities, its various other components and facilities that it has. And that is where the ecosystem must gain. Instead of building parallel infrastructure, which costs huge amount of money, it is very important that it becomes a whole of a nation approach, where every facility, every infrastructure, whether it belongs to DRDO, it belongs to a private industry, it belongs to HAL or BL or whoever it is, must be thrown open so that there is cost effectiveness, and tomorrow we can actually export Rafale. And the most important part is that, AMCA has gone the private sector way. If AMCA has gone the private sector way, we need to learn and very, very quickly absorb technology from Rafale and put it into AMCA. Because the moment we get commonalities of components, of technology,
great point,
then what we will do is we will be able to integrate all these platforms much better. We'll have a much better logistic and long-winded supply chain. We'll have a much better efficiency. We'll have a much better operational capability. And by the time AMCA even gets to the prototype version, there are few technologies which are there, like sensor fusion, like EOTS, like long-range weapon system integration, mission computers, and things like that, which need to be integrated. And that is where the major challenge has been with HAL.
True.
And so if the private industry can, and it's a high risk, high reward process. If we don't bite the bullet, we will continue to be, very safe on everything.
No, I agree.
And safety doesn't ensure rewards.
No, I agree. And the AMCA that Air Marshal Kapoor is referring to, of course, is the India's intended fifth generation stealth fighter that the private sector is currently competing in a race to prototype, etc. Vishnu's been reporting on that as well. Wing Commander Panikkar, the technology absorption is going to be obviously a challenge. India has built fighters locally before at HAL. The Sukhoi 30 is probably the biggest local fighter line that we've had, but it hasn't translated into many sort of aviation ecosystem benefits in terms of giving us the know-how, if I can simplify it, to build our own sort of equally capable fighter. Do you think this one should be like a watershed project in that respect, like what Air Marshal Kapoor is saying?
I would totally support what Ajit has just mentioned. Shiv, I'll just take you back about 30, 40 odd years. When the Tatas first made the Indica, the first indigenous car, we were all thrilled because for the first time, India was making its own internal combustion engine. It's completely indigenous design and completely made in India. Similarly, even though the Tejas is vastly delayed, be that as it may, it still represents something that is indigenous. No country in the world wants to transfer technology in its totality because that will take away from whatever significant, intellectual property, whatever technological secrets that they have. So whatever they give us will be only in partiality. And like Ajik has just mentioned, so far we've been specialists only in assembly. starting off from the Jaguar, the MiG-21, the MiG-29, the Su-30. Essentially, what you're doing is putting things together.
Yeah.
The Tejas represents indigenization. And not to forget, our Tejas program has been stuck for an extended period of time because of the F404 engines. If Zafran is able to give an alternative,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
are looking at an entire new ecosystem. We are looking at an entire new ecosystem in which you have a supply chain that is not dependent upon which side of the bed somebody wakes up on and decides. Do not forget that in reality, a fighter aircraft represents a lot more than just the shell. It's not like a transport aircraft. I've been flying, airliners for 25, 22 odd years, in which you basically fill up passengers and fuel and you go from point A to point B. A fighter aircraft represents the pinnacle of technological capability.
Yes.
It's not just a shell. It's a weapon systems, it's a fusion, it's a sharing of information, it's an integration. It's how you manage that entire system and how it integrates into your overall strategy and capability of the Air Force. I would say 100% step in the right direction, importing of technology, transfer of technology, building our own stuff, outsourcing it, transferring the technology, and finally reaching a stage in which, like what RJK just mentioned, reaching a stage in which we are able to significantly contribute to our own AMCA program.
Absolutely. And I sincerely hope as a country that has, for various reasons had to import most of its, overwhelming majority of its equipment. In terms of air power, this becomes that final kind of project, where we're getting the stuff from outside. We haven't even gotten to the sensitive topic of engine deal, fighter engines. That's a completely separate issue, which I will invite all of you back for at some other day. But I think a step in the right direction, a brave move, a good decision, something that the Indian Air Force will welcome, is a good way to end this tonight. Thank you very much, Air Marshal Kapoor, Wing Commander Panikkar, and Vishnu, as always, for being with me here tonight.